Germans going bonkers over a man in his 40s bouncing around the stage with bright orange hair, and the bloke who's 30 from St Helens doing an impression of a cartoon character on stage. I love this game. Stephen Bunting and Peter Wright, two guys looking to light up this stage here in Riesa at the International Darts Open. Dan Dawson in the commentary box alongside me, Mike Lawrence, for this one.
Yes, and a typically understated walk-on from Peter Wright there. One of the pick of the third round ties this, Stephen Bunting against Peter Wright, two of the stars of the Premier League. Stephen seeing off Jamie Caven last night, 6-3. Whereas Peter Wright whitewashed Matt Clark 6-0 with 103.6 average. That was the best of the tournament up until today. And the winner of this one will take on Ian White, who, of course, just saw off Robert Thornton in our previous match, and this will make up the second quarter-final of the evening.
Yeah, so this is all the same half of the draw as the action we've already seen today.
Game on.
Now, you will have noticed that Stephen Bunting studiously stood at the table during Peter Wright's walk-on and did not even entertain the idea of joining in with his dancing. I think that may be because the last time he did that at the UK Open, when they met in the semi-finals, he joined in, did the old Peter Wright dance. Oh, we're having a lovely time. Got done 10-0.
Yeah, 100. That's right.
He has learnt his lesson, has the bullet. They have met since then. That was in the Premier League. It was a 6-6 draw.
140.
Peter Wright with those wobbly darts.
Yeah, they do take a bit of getting used to seeing those go in like that.
Made him himself. Although his suppliers, Red Dragon, are actually knocking up some proper ones that won't just be glued together. Sort of Frankenstein's monster of a dart that he's created, taking 65 bits of his darts, the barrels, and then the points of the Greek dart player, John Michael, my big fat Greek dart player. They're working for him, though. They are working for him. 180. Already from Peter Wright. Stephen Bunting under pressure as he looks to hold throw in the opening leg.
81.
Peter Wright's average, 103.6 against Matt Clark, the 6-0 win yesterday. Best one we've seen so far, even better than Ian White, so he's just thrown 103.01. Doesn't need to go for the 12 on the ball route with... Well, he does with 149. Oh, I beg your pardon. So he's basically said to Stephen Bunting, I don't think you're going to take this out. Confident.
Let's see if the man from St Helens can do it. He can't now, so... Peter Wright's
99.
Gamble
Peter, you require 32.
Paid off, and he's back here for double 16 for an early break of throw. First start right in the middle of the bed for 1-0.
Second leg, Peter to throw first. Game on.
Well, a little bit cheeky from Peter Wright. But it's worked.
$100.
We saw him reach the semi-final of the European Tour event here in Germany earlier in the year in Munich. Peter Wright. Stephen Bunting not really set things alight on the European Tour this year.
Yeah, it's been strange really for Peter Wright because he's been playing some
60.
good stuff away from the European Tour. He's hit his first career 9-darter. He's won a couple of tournaments. He's made 3 finals, including the UK Open final. Made the World Cup final just a week ago as well with Gary Anderson and the Scottish team. And yet the European Tour, it's just not happened for him. And it is a stage where he's done very well in the past. Obviously won in Dusseldorf. Gets great support in Germany because the Germans love a man with a silly hairdo. That's why they love Whitlock. Not just why they love Whitlock. He's a top dart player, but...
134.
Yeah, the German fans hoping to see Simon Whitlock today. Disappointed. Fantastic performance by the Northern Irishman Daryl Gurney, knocking out Simon Whitlock last night. One of 2 Northern Irishmen in the third round, Brendan Dolan being the other one. He's on next against Dave Chisnell.
Oh, it's a good one, this. Double 12's a nice double, and he's got a chance at it, and he's missed outside.
Peter, you require 101.
Ton plus, though. It was 104 checkout that really broke the back of Matt Clark in his second round game. He's hit the treble. But he can't find double 12 either. So Stephen Bunting to break straight back with a 13-darter of his own. And there it is. We are one apiece.
Stephen Bunting.
Immediate break back, and 2,500 Germans in here, but a hush descended over the place. Much respect for the players on stage.
83.
Knowing that it's doubles for dough. It's the doubles that win you matches, that win you titles, that win you the prize money. There's 25 grand up for grabs for the winner of this tonight.
140.
Stephen Bunting, best run he's had on the European Tour as a semi-final. That was in Berlin last year at the Maritime Hotel there. Phenomenal tournament. The last four saw 4 world champions. Stephen Bunting was taking on Phil Taylor. He lost that in the end. And Michael Van Gerwen saw off Adrian Lewis, and then Taylor beat Van Gerwen in the final. Real quality on show that weekend in Berlin. We could be in for something similar today. The matches of the winners we've seen, they played great golf. Terry Jenkins, phenomenal form. Obviously, Ian White's just thrown 103 average. Steve beaten by Michael Smith, who didn't quite average 100, but he was firing in the maximums for fun. And look at those numbers. 120 first 9 average from Peter Wright, and he continues to score well. 112 overall. It is early days. It is early days.
140.
But yes, you sense the cream rising to the top as the competition progresses. And as you might expect, these players sort of feeding off each other, bouncing off each other,
Peter, you require 81.
and pushing each other to set higher and higher standards.
Oh,
he's progressed in the tournament. Well,
41.
Big 5 there, but luckily for Peter, Stephen Bunting still well behind in this leg.
Yeah, leg on his own throw as well. Could be looking at a 3rd consecutive break of throw, but this will just make Peter think, oh, well.
95. Peter, you require 40.
Topsy once.
And Topsy gets
Peter
so 3 legs played, and all 3 of them being won against the throw here.
And in 13 darts. Four unseeded players made it through to the final day of action. There you go. 13, 13, 13. That carries on.
100.
Whew. Well, it'll be quick. 4 unseeded players, yeah, made it through 2 today. We've seen one already. That was Roby John Rodriguez. He didn't make it through as Peter Wright looks to fill this up. And does so.
180.
Second 180 for Peter Wright. Might be one back at him here. Just below the wire.
99.
Yeah, Roby John Rodriguez couldn't get through his game against Terry Jenkins. Stephen Bunting is not one of the seeded players, just outside the seedings. Benito van der Pas got that last 16th seed. It does mean he gets to face the number 1 seed, Michael Van Gerwen, in our last game of the afternoon.
Yeah, Stephen, one of those coming through the UK qualifiers held in Crawley last month. One of 20 UK qualifiers that started off the day here on Friday afternoon.
He should stay up there. Yeah, he does so, and he'll just look to set this up.
127.
And he does so expertly. Yeah, the other 2 unseeded players we get to see. Darryl Gurney, who we've mentioned already, is Stephen Bunting. Fires in a 180 just to remind Peter Wright that he's not going to get it all his own way in this leg.
Great pressure shot by Bunting. But no messing from Peter Wright, who now has a 2-leg advantage over his opponent, but Bunting often flying at the start of leg 5. Great crowd in for a Sunday afternoon
85.
at the darts here in the Saxon Arena.
Yeah, dished up some good stuff so far today. Now then.
Whoa.
Now then, Stephen Bunting. Second 180. And that takes it to 150 for the weekend. There'll be plenty more, I guarantee you that.
60.
Before we crown a winner later this evening. Yeah, Darryl Gurney was the third unseeded player I mentioned. He's in action later against Kim Huybrechts. And the other one is
60.
Max Hopp, the 18-year-old German. We have a German in action here in Riesa on the final day of the tournament. I would imagine he'll have some pretty vocal
58.
support.
Stephen, you record
Yes, I'm sure
121.
Justin Piper will be pleased of his earplugs on stage when he takes on Max Hopp later on. This then for
89.
Bunting, just setting it up for double 16 when he returns, which he will do.
Yeah, this is by some distance the weakest
60.
scoring leg for
Stephen,
Peter
you
Wright. He's
require
absolutely nowhere
32.
near in this one. So, another 13 darter? Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Stephen Bunting.
So that's
Six leg
5
Peters
legs,
who
4 of them won in
throw
13 darts
Game
and
on.
one in 14 darts. That was rubbish.
Yeah, fantastic standard. And Peter Wright
100.
kicking off with a ton. And Stephen did have to dig deep to see off Jamie Caven last night. A 6-3 win in the end, but he was 3-1 down before rattling off 5
140.
legs in a row. And averaging just over 91.5. Bunting.
140.
You know, both these guys averaging around about the 100 mark at the moment. Those, you see those legs, 13, 13, 13, 14, 13. If you do it in 15 darts, that's your 100 average.
100.
These guys are just above that. 102 plays 102, eh? But it's Peter Wright who has the advantage because he's got a
100.
break of throw. He's down to a finish in this one as well. But Bunting's going to be on a finish, it looks like. Just needs to stay straight here. No, he does even better than that and gets it in the treble. So 1-2-1, that's a lot more gettable than 1-6-1. Oh, he's got one treble. And he's got the second. Look at this, Peter Wright. Oh, that is not far away. Would have been the biggest checkout we've seen this weekend. Treble 17. Doesn't get a dart at the bullseye, but he sets it up. Peter Wright
25.
for 4-2. Double 8. Gets it. 14 darter.
Peter Wright. 7 leg Stephen to throw first. Game on.
Well, that 167 and that way of going would have looked spectacular had it come off, but he got it done
140.
at his return with the 25 out, but now a 2-leg advantage restored for the Scotsman.
You see there, really good finishing
60.
stats from both players. Bunting hasn't quite had that many chances, that's the thing.
$81.
Still in this though, Stephen Bunting. If you're throwing 104 average, which is pretty much what he is at the minute,
140.
you're always going to be in with a sniff. But Peter Wright, having thrown the highest average of the tournament in his 6-0 win over Matt Clark,
93.
is following it up here. The big players producing the goods on the final day of the International Darts Open.
$60.
You see Peter Wright there. It's an example of his stubbornness to stay on the treble 20. He'll do so far more than other players, even if he's blocking his route to it.
83.
And Bunting in the driving seat then to take this leg. But if Peter Wright can hit a treble, which he does with the last dart,
Stephen, you require 104.
just hanging on his coattails in this 7th leg. But, well, he's hit the big 9.
72.
Yeah, he wanted the 12 for double 16. Now, he came close to the big 161, but he's not going to take out the 141.
130. Stephen, you require 32.
Double 16, reducing the arrears, a 16 darter that time.
Yeah, first leg of darts to go longer than 5 visits to the board, but Stephen Bunting won't be too bothered about that, because he's managed to win it. And he's just 1 leg behind.
100.
He's probably going to have to find a 12 dart, you would think, to break the Peter Wright throw. And this is the way to go about it.
Oh, in and out.
20.
60 on the floor.
Well, in a game that's so close as this, I mean, that could prove to be the difference between victory and defeat.
100. $96.
Obviously didn't like the lie of the first start blocking the treble 20 bed, so attempted to switch. Stephen Bunting.
Yeah, he got 1 treble.
100.
3 level tons for Peter Wright in this leg. Opportunity for Bunting, and he's jumping on it. He's jumping all over it. It's his third 180. Probably deserved one at the very start of this leg. I'll tell you what, an extra 60 points on his score right now could make all the difference. It's a 4th level ton for Peter Wright. So he's looking at 101 if he returns. Bunting, 105. He's going to get a dart. Double 16. And he gets it. What a leg of darts. We said he probably needed a 12 darter. He has produced. And the bullet makes it 4 apiece, breaks the Peter Wright throw, and all of a sudden is probably just edging this in the betting as the favourite for this match.
Absolute quality for Stephen Bunting.
140.
Showing some of that class that he's enjoyed since joining the PDC around about 18 months ago after winning the Lakeside World title.
96.
That is world class. 4 out of 5 on his doubles. 4 out of 7's pretty good for Peter Wright.
$60. $100.
Well, level tons on the Bunting throw probably aren't enough for Peter Wright with the way that Stephen Bunting is finishing, because if he's getting a chance, he's taking it out.
Definitely.
140.
Another ton 40.
Superb game of darts we've got going on here.
His 8th ton 40 of the match.
$95. Stephen, you require 161.
6 darts from here for Stephen Bunting to go within a leg of the quarter-finals.
90.
He's only made 2 quarter-finals on the Pro Tour this year, Stephen Bunting, despite that run at the UK Open, the semi-finals and the World's quarter-final. But Peter Wright flies in a 180 to leave him double 15. I think he just hit the maximum just to get the crowd noisy and see if he can put Stephen Bunting off. But is anything putting Bunting off his doubles? Wow, 55. For the first time, Stephen Bunting has gone to the board with a dart at a double, and he has given his opponent a chance. Now, he left the double 15, which is tricky. Now he's looking at double 4. And he takes his time, picks his spot, and nails it. Peter Wright goes back into the lead.
What a time to do it. What a way to do it.
Game on.
And now is the momentum swinging back in the favour of Peter Wright. Throwing here for 41. The match. And a place in the quarter-final tonight against Ian White.
Well, there you see the average of Stephen Bunting is 104. And yet, Peter Wright is throwing for the match here. However, no trebles in his first 5 darts. He pins one with his last one, but Stephen Bunting's effectively stolen darts. Anybody's game, this.
This is one that, when we saw the draw, you thought had every chance of going to an 11th and deciding leg, and with the quality that both players have shown this afternoon, it really deserves to.
Well, I mean, those are phenomenal darts per leg. Everything's been done in 4 or 5 visits to the board, apart from that 7th leg, which took an extra dart. And Peter Wright, a ton 40. Well, I don't even know who's favourite in this leg right now. It's, you see 2 poor darts from Stephen Bunting there, 3 poor darts, and suddenly Peter Wright's favourite again.
If he can pile in here, Peter Wright.
Every single slack dart makes a huge, huge difference.
Definitely.
Leaves him Shanghai. Peter Wright looking at 143. What a shot this would be. It's not going to happen. He has to leave himself handily placed. And he has done. He'll get 2 match darts if he returns. Will he? Will he? No, he will not. 5 apiece. Stephen Bunting. A 3rd consecutive breaker throw in this one. The Shanghai finish on double top. We're going all the way. What a game of darts we've got here for you in Riesa.
11th and final leg, Stephen to throw.
Absolutely top draw stuff from Stephen Bunting. And deservedly, it's going to a deciding leg. Bunting has the advantage of throwing first, as you can see, and needs to make it count. Getting off with a ton. Those big finishes that he's pulled out at crucial times for Stephen Bunting have kept him right in it.
Straight tons for both men to start this deciding leg. No one has yet had a match dart. Peter Wright was sat on 43 for the match in that previous leg when Bunting took out the highest check out of the match. Ian White awaits the winner of this one in tonight's quarter-finals. A ton 40 for Peter Wright, just gets his nose in front, but it's not a decisive lead.
Great readjustment after pulling that first dart from Bunting.
He's first to a finish is Bunting. Peter Wright needs a treble to get to a finish himself. He needs one. He's not got one, so 6 darts from 161 for Stephen Bunting. He doesn't need to go the bull route. That would be ridiculously flashy if he did. I think he's coming downstairs anyway. And he'll go back up to the treble 20 now. 97 leaves him 64, which should get him at least 1 match dart. Peter Wright has just got to put a dent in it and hope. There's going to be some pressure. Not as much as there could have been. Is that the last dart that Peter Wright throws in the International Darts Open? He's averaged over 100 here and hit more than half his doubles, but Stephen Bunting has been superb, and he's looking at 64. He's got 2 match darts at double 8. And he only needs 1. What a game of darts we have seen here. A 6-5 victory for Stephen Bunting. The performance of the tournament so far. He's averaged, well, around about 104. That 120 checkout, though, in the penultimate leg to take us to a decider with Peter Wright sat on 43 for the match. Absolutely nerveless stuff. The bullet is into the quarter-finals. He will face Ian White in an all-English clash this evening. And could he go all the way, the former Lakeside World Champion? We'll grab a few words with the bullet, and then the action will continue here at the International Darts Open. We have got some big names on the way. And None bigger than Michael Van Gerwen. But first up, it's Chizzy. Dave Chisnell, another man from St Helens, looking to complete the St Helens sweep. Michael Smith, Stephen Bunting, and Dave Chisnell in the quarterfinals. It could happen. He takes on Brendan Dolan.
Stephen, congratulations. Great play by both of you, both playing high averages, over 100. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, every time I play Peter, we always seem to have a really good game, unless it's at the UK Open and he beats me 10-0. But no, no, I'm really happy with that performance. I don't feel like I've played my best game all week, but I feel like I'm part of the tournament now. Obviously, I've got 3 more games tonight. Hopefully, I can lift the crown.
Okay, quick quiz, Stephen. Please name one professional darts player who looks like a famous Family Guy character.
Oh, I think Mike Smith looks a bit like Lois.
Okay, thank you very much. Congratulations again. See you in the next round.